It was a rainy Thursday afternoon when Claire Parker watched her 12th therapist walk out of her hospital room shaking his head. She didn't cry anymore. Tears had dried months ago. The once lively 17-year-old daughter of global tech magnate Edward Parker now spent her days in silence, paralyzed from the chest down after a car accident that made headlines and broke the internet. Once a piano prodigy, dancer, and spirited student leader, she now stared out the hospital window, numb to the world that had moved on without her. Edward stood outside her door, torn between executive meetings and parenting failure. Millions admired him for building a $5 billion empire, but he couldn't bring a smile back to his own daughter's face. Doctors had told him her spine might never recover, but what haunted him most was how her spirit seemed even more broken. She wouldn't speak, wouldn't eat unless forced, and refused any form of therapy. She had simply given up. That was until Thomas Hughes stepped into the hospital corridor with a little girl skipping beside him. He wasn't wearing a lab coat or a suit, just a worn-out hoodie, faded jeans, and a backpack slung over one shoulder. He wasn't there for Claire. In fact, he was only in the building for his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, who had a minor arm fracture after falling off a slide. But fate had other plans. Daddy, why is that girl always sitting alone? Lily asked innocently, tugging at Thomas's hand as they passed Claire's room during a follow-up visit. Thomas glanced through the glass door. There she was, thin pale, with eyes full of pain that no one her age should carry. Nurses walked by, a psychologist whispered updates to Edward Parker in the hallway, but no one entered her world. No one saw her. That bothered Thomas more than it should have. The next day, Thomas brought a coloring book for Lily's appointment but also brought a pack of watercolor pencils. Maybe we could give these to the girl who's always alone. Lily nodded eagerly. They knocked. No answer, but they walked in anyway. Hi, I'm Lily, the little girl chirped, placing the pencils on Claire's lap. These are for you. He says colors can speak when words don't. Claire didn't look up, her hands didn't move, but something flickered behind those vacant eyes. Lily, unfazed, continued talking about unicorns, playgrounds, and how her dad made pancakes shaped like animals. Thomas sat quietly, just listening. For the next week, they came every day. Lily brought stories. Thomas brought music, playing soft acoustic tunes from his phone. Still no movement, until one day, Claire blinked twice when Lily asked if she liked dogs, then nodded. The next day, she tried whispering, golden retrievers. That moment hit Edward like a thunderclap. Thomas never pressured her. He simply showed up, day after day, until one afternoon, while Lily was out getting cookies, he leaned in gently and said, I don't know your pain, but I do know this. You're still here, and that means something. I don't care if you walk, run, or just blink again. I'll help you find the colors in life, even if the world gave you gray. Claire's lips trembled. Her first smile in 8 months. It wasn't a miracle recovery, but the kindness of a stranger. One single dad who understood pain without needing to fix it was the catalyst no one saw coming. Thomas didn't have a medical degree, but his humanity did what 12 professionals couldn't. Weeks passed. Claire began painting, with her mouth soft flowers, rising suns, oceans with light breaking through stormy skies. She started writing short poems. Her story went viral, not because she was the daughter of a billionaire, but because the world saw something it had almost forgotten: compassion with no agenda. Edward eventually asked Thomas to join a foundation he started for spinal recovery programs. But Thomas had a better idea. Why not fund art therapy and emotional support for teens with trauma? That's where healing really begins. Claire's name became the face of that movement, and Thomas, though hesitant at first, took on the role of lead advisor. At a global youth summit 2 years later, Claire rolled onto the stage in a sleek, motorized wheelchair, head held high, a finished painting behind her, a little girl holding hands with a tall man under a sky filled with color. The caption read, "Healing isn't fixing, it's feeling again." Her final words to the audience silenced the room. He didn't teach me to walk again, he taught me how to stand in my truth. And in the crowd, among world leaders and philanthropists, one man held his daughter's hand with quiet pride. No medals, no applause, just the contentment of knowing that a whisper, "I'll help her," had changed a life forever. After the summit, as cameras flashed and reporters rushed forward, Claire rolled past them all and headed straight to where Thomas and Lily were. Waiting, her hands trembled as she reached out for Lily's. "You saved me," she whispered. Lily giggled. "No, you saved yourself." Thomas smiled but stayed silent, the way he always did when the world wanted a speech. Claire looked up at him and said, "You never treated me like I was broken. You treated me like I was still me." That night, Edward invited Thomas and Lily to dinner at their estate. It was the first time in years that laughter echoed through the long, cold halls. Lily chased Claire's service dog around the backyard, while Thomas helped Claire paint a mural on the patio wall, her idea.